Many children are taught to compete with their siblings before they are ever taught how to accompany them. Welcome back to the Revolution Resolution. I'm Malaika Tubbs, 2 times New York Times bestselling author of Erased and the Three Mothers. Over the last few episodes, we've been exploring the different ways American patriarchy shapes relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, caregiving, and community. Today, I want to talk about one of the very first relationships where many of us learn what connection is supposed to feel like: sibling relationships. Because long before children enter workplaces, romantic relationships, or broader social systems, many are already absorbing lessons about comparison, scarcity, competition, attention, and belonging inside their own homes. And most of the time, families are not doing this intentionally. Parents are often trying their best inside a culture that teaches them achievement matters more than connection, independence matters more than interdependence, and individuality matters more than collective care. But those values shape family life in ways we rarely stop to question. American patriarchy teaches people to think of themselves as separate units before it teaches them how to move through life in relationship with one another. And sibling relationships are often one of the first places this becomes visible. Many children grow up hearing subtle comparisons. Who is easier? Who is smarter? Who is more athletic? Who is more emotional? Who is more successful? Who needs less? Who causes fewer problems? Even when parents never say these things directly, children often absorb them through tone, attention, praise, expectations, and family dynamics. And over time, siblings can begin relating to one another through comparison instead of accompaniment. One child becomes the responsible one, another becomes the sensitive one. One becomes the gifted one, another becomes the difficult one. Instead of being allowed to remain fully complex, children are often narrowed into roles that help organize the family system. Again, in Erased, I write about how hierarchy relies on categorizing us and keeping us from achieving our unique potential. And families can unknowingly reproduce this narrowing too. Not because parents are cruel, but because most adults are raising children inside a system that already taught them to prioritize performance, efficiency, competition, and individual achievement. You can see this in subtle ways. Siblings constantly being separated instead of encouraged to accompany one another. For example, young children being put in individual rooms rather than being taught to live communally with each other. Parents splitting up to take children to different activities instead of helping children learn to support each other's interests. Children being encouraged to excel individually without being taught how to celebrate one another collectively. Children being told they have ownership over toys rather than being told that all the resources they have at home are always to be shared. And again, this is not about saying children should never have privacy, individuality, or different interests. Difference is beautiful. Individuality matters. But there is a difference between helping children become themselves and teaching them that they exist separately from one another, and that independence is the only goal. Because when relationships are organized around separation, comparison, and individualized achievement, children can begin experiencing one another less as companions and more as competitors for attention, affirmation, resources, time, and worth. And this shapes people long after childhood ends. Many adults carry deep difficulty celebrating other people's success without feeling threatened themselves. Many struggle to ask for support from siblings they love. Many feel emotionally distant from people they spent their entire childhood beside. Many know how to coexist with family members without ever learning how to deeply accompany them. And underneath all of this is a larger cultural message that survival is individual, that worth must be earned separately, that closeness is secondary to achievement. But human beings were never meant to survive this way. Historically, siblings were often part of shared systems of care, survival, protection, and emotional belonging. People understood that children do not only need individual development, they also need collective identity, shared responsibility, mutual investment in one another's well-being. Because one of the most important things a child can learn is this: someone else's success does not diminish your own. Another person being celebrated does not make you less worthy. Love does not become smaller when it is shared. And perhaps most importantly, the people closest to you are not obstacles standing in your way. They are companions in your becoming. Children who learn how to coexist, cheer for one another, comfort one another, protect one another, and grow alongside one another are learning something far bigger than kindness. They are learning interdependence. They are learning collective care. They are learning that relationships do not have to be organized around hierarchy in order to feel meaningful or secure. And in a culture shaped by patriarchy, that lesson is profoundly important. So here are the reflection questions for today. What did your family teach you about comparison? What did you learn about attention, achievement, and worth through your sibling relationships? Were you taught to stand apart from one another or to stand with one another? And what becomes possible when children learn accompaniment before independence? If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who helped you feel like you weren't alone growing up, or someone you wish you had learned to accompany more deeply. It's not too late to repair those relationships. And remember, one of the most powerful ways we resist hierarchy is by refusing to see the people beside us as rivals instead of companions.